This is the Thursday, February 4th, 2021 meeting of the Franklin Township Zoning Board of Adjustment. Franklin Township is operating under a declaration of state and local emergency due to the ongoing COVID-19 pandemic, and it has been determined that the public's attendance at meetings of the zoning board would pose a risk to their health, safety, and welfare. Therefore, this meeting has been relocated from the council chambers at the Franklin Township Municipal Building to a virtual meeting format and is being conducted utilizing virtual/remote telecommunications equipment in conformance with the directives of the state of New Jersey. The relocation of this virtual meeting of the zoning board was posted in the township's official newspaper, the Courier News, on the township website, and on exterior doorways of the municipal building. This notice detailed the following means of public participation in this remote meeting: link to the virtual meeting via WebEx, and a call-in number for those without internet access. Public inspection of application materials was made available via the township website and or by appointment in the municipal building. Formal action may be taken at this virtual meeting. Reminder to board members, please mute yourself unless you wish to speak or to provide a vote. Please withhold questions until all the applicant's witnesses have finished presenting, at which time the chair will ask the board for comment and questions. Instructions for public input. For those members of the public that are watching via WebEx who wish to speak, there are two options. Press the raise hand button. To use this function, click on the participants icon in the lower right-hand corner of your screen, which will open up a new participants window on the right side of your screen. In the lower right-hand corner of that window will be a hand icon. Click on the hand icon, which will place a small hand next to your name in the participant list, or use the chat function. Either use a default, which is everyone, or chat Mark Healy. Do not send the message to Christine Woodbury, as she's unable to review messages during the meeting. And do not use the Q&A function, as that section will not be checked during the meeting. For those members of the public that are listening via the call-in number who wish to speak, please press *3. At the appropriate time in the meeting, township staff will announce your name, unmute you, and you will have the opportunity to provide comments or questions. Please provide your name and address. If providing a statement, the board attorney will swear you in. After speaking, if on WebEx, please press the hand button again, and that'll lower your hand. Or if calling in, press *3 again. That's it, Mr. Chairman.
Call, please.
Cheryl Bethia.
Here.
Bruce Mark, can you please check the numbers and see if Bruce is on there? He came in through the other time. Dan, while Mark is saying that, I just wanted to say something to the board members. Resolution, Gary, can you mute yourself, please? Gary. The resolutions were sent out for the protocols and the declared emergency. Is Ms. Bazzi allowed to vote on that, Dan?
If she did read them, yes, she can vote on them.
Okay, so I just wanted to make sure, because I was gonna go down, and people of the board, I was not able to get the final memo out as I was called away unexpectedly. So when we go through the three resolutions that are on your preliminary agenda, after DJ's, we're going to have the resolutions for the protocol and declared emergency when Mr. Thomas calls them. Okay, thank you for that announcement. And Mark, did you find Bruce or no?
I don't see his name. We do have 3 call-in people, but I think he's been, I'm going to unmute the callers real quick. And I'm just going to ask if any of them are Bruce McCracken, and if so, just speak up. Okay, are any of the call-in folks Bruce McCracken? Bruce? No? Okay, I'm going to mute them again.
Joel Reese?
Here.
Rich?
Yes.
Gary Rosenthal?
Here.
Robert Shepard has to be excused. Richard Prokanik?
Here.
Kunal Lakir?
Here.
Razim Firdas?
Here.
And Chairman Thomas?
Here. Okay, pillar of fire resolution, ZBA 19-00045. We need a motion.
I move to accept.
Mr. Thomas, the minutes the minutes were there. The minutes from the 21st, January
Oh, yeah.
20th.
Yes, I remember. I have those from the. email.
Sorry, I just
First
want to
reading.
keep it in order.
That's okay. First the minutes, and that's the 21st.
I move to accept the minutes.
I'll second.
I'm sorry, who's second? Gary?
Yes.
Okay. Cheryl Bethia,
Yes.
Joel Reese,
Yes.
Alan Rich,
Yes.
Gary Rosenthal,
Yes.
Rich Prokanic,
Yes.
Kunal Lakir,
Yep.
and Chairman Thomas.
Yes, and now we have pillar of fire under resolutions, and someone did offer a motion and a second. Maybe you
offer
can
the
do that
motion.
again.
You offered the first and then the second, please.
I'll second Gary.
Okay. Cheryl Bethia,
Yes.
Reese,
Yes.
Alan Rich,
Yes.
Gary Rosenthal,
Yes.
Rich Prokanic,
Yes.
Kunal Lakir,
Yes.
Chairman Thomas.
Yes. DJ LLC doing business as Supreme Productions, ZBA 20-00021.
I move to accept.
I'll second Gary.
Cheryl Bethia,
Yes.
Joel Reese,
Yes.
Alan Rich,
Yes.
Gary Rosenthal,
Yes.
Rich Prokanic,
Yes.
Kunal Lakir,
Yes.
and Chairman Thomas.
Yes. And would you read the names of the next resolution?
We have the resolution for Liu, L-I-U, that we sent over.
Yes.
Gary, can you sit back a little bit from your computer?
All right.
Thank you, that's better, I think.
Okay.
Okay, so we have the resolution for LIU.
Lou, ZBA 20-00022.
Yes.
I move to accept.
Motion to approve.
Okay, so Cheryl and Cheryl Cole, Cheryl Bethia,
Yes.
Joel Reese, Alan Rich,
Yes.
Gary Rosenthal,
Yes.
Rich Prokanic,
Yes.
Kunal Lakir,
Yes.
and Chairman Thomas.
Yes. And now I believe we have a resolution you can read.
The resolution for the protocols that was supplied by Daniel Lagana, I sent out to everyone. May I have a first for the approval of that resolution?
I move to accept.
Is anybody else hearing all that static, or is it just me?
I hear
Oh, I hear
static.
it too.
Oh, I hear a lot of static.
I'm going to
Let me
ask,
speak. Gary, I'm almost positive it's Gary. Gary, you have to stay muted until you speak, because I'm almost positive it's coming from your line.
yeah, I was going to make that suggestion. Can everybody please mute yourself until I call your name? I will give enough time for you to unmute and speak, because I can't even hear people saying yes or no. Okay, the resolution was for the protocols that Dan had sent out. I forwarded to everyone before I left, and I explained to you all that we're going to be voting on that this evening. As long as everyone had the chance to read that, I would, as Mr. Thomas said, would like to entertain a motion for somebody to, oh, Joel, I see your hand up, so you don't even have to unmute yourself. So I'll put Joel as the first and the second,
I'll
please.
second.
Thank you, Cheryl. So Cheryl, I'm going to start with you.
Yes.
Okay, Joel Reese. Okay, Alan Rich,
Yes.
Gary Rosenthal,
Yes.
Rich Prokanic,
Yes.
Kunal Lakir,
Yes.
and Chairman Thomas.
Yes.
The second resolution provided by the attorney was for the declared emergency. If you've all read that, I would like to see someone, Gary, I see you approving it, and then a second, please. Joel or Cheryl, did you say yes?
Yes.
Okay, Cheryl. Okay, Cheryl Bethia,
Yes.
Joel Reese,
Yes.
Alan Rich,
Yes.
Gary Rosenthal,
Yes.
Rich Prokanic,
Yes.
Kunal Lakir.
Yes.
Oh, wait, Bazim, I'm so sorry. He did say, did you read those?
I did read the minutes, but I'm not sure that by the description you're saying that I kind of know which one is what. So maybe I'll just refrain from voting
That's
today.
fine.
It's okay.
Okay, and then Chairman Thomas. Okay, I see you. Okay, sir, Mr. Thomas, I'm done. You can go on to the first meeting at your leisure. Mr. Thomas, you're muted at this time. There you go.
Thomas and Karen Duffy, ZBA 19-00034. C variances in which the applicant seeking permission to construct a 60 by 40 pole building to store cars at 1464 Hamilton Street, Somerset, block 87.04, lot 17 in the R20 zone. And we'll see if we can get everybody together on that one. We can start when ready.
Okay, so Vincent Dominack is assisted the applicant in putting the application together. I believe he's going to help them present their application. Vince, do you have your camera? I brought him in as presenter. Vince?
Mark, is he the architect?
No, he's a township staff member who assisted him in the application, putting the application together.
He's actually here tonight, I believe.
He's on the
partially as
call.
Economic Development Director.
Oh, yes. I'm sorry.
Yeah, we spoke before. He was an attendee before the meeting started.
His name is listed. It looks like he's having trouble connecting.
Yeah, his name is listed and it shows a camera icon too, but so maybe he's still having some connections.
Hey, Vince, if you can hear this, he's actually somewhere else in the building. If you hear this, I actually have a laptop open on the other side of the council chambers here, and you can log in under my or just use my other laptop.
I tried to reach him by cell, Mark. He didn't answer, so maybe he's trying to use his phone. I'm not sure.
There he is.
Okay.
Just here he is. Yeah, so he's we're gonna wait a few minutes.
Are the Duffys online too, Mark?
I believe
Yes,
Mr.
Dan.
Duffy is going to be there as well.
Is he? And he's going to be the primary presenter on this as well.
I believe so.
If we can get Mr. Duffy on, I can swear him in.
Yeah, we're going. Well, he's coming over with Vince.
Oh, okay.
Mark, I didn't see a planner sheet on this one online.
Joel, you're saying that you didn't see the TRC report?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's only 3 things online. And two of them are the maps. There's the application and two copies of the survey.
Okay, I'm gonna ask more, hold on, I'm gonna go into my emails and see if I can find it, and I'm gonna, at that point, I can ask Mark to make me a presenter, and I'll be able to bring it up for you all to see the actual TRC report. Just give me a moment while Mark is helping Vince, I'll be able to do this as well.
Okay, or if you want to email it to me, I can print it out.
Well, I don't have the access. I don't, oh, email it to you? Let me see,
Yeah.
maybe.
I'm right by my printer.
Can anybody else unmute themselves and let me know if they did not see the report as well?
I got it in paper form, so I have it.
Okay.
I don't have it.
All right, Joel, I'll try to get it up online for you momentarily.
Okay.
Hello? Can you hear me now?
I can hear you and I can see you.
Am I coming up, Mark?
Yep,
I can't hear anyone else, though.
I can hear you.
We can hear you.
And I can see you.
I got it. Hold on.
Okay, go ahead.
Hello? Hello, this is Vince Dominack. As most of you know, I'm the Township's Economic Development Director. I've been assisting Mr. Duffy, who's sitting to my left in the variance application. I'm going to give a brief synopsis and just have him confirm that everything he said is exact. Mr. Duffy recently had some oral surgery, so he'll answer any questions and speak, but it hurts for him a little bit to speak. Mr. Duffy has lived at the residence in question, 1464, for 35 years. Most of you probably also know he has a car repair shop. He's been at that location on Hamilton for the last 50 years. Also in the packet, you'll notice that Mr. Duffy included some pictures. You'll notice from those pictures that his yard is in immaculate shape. It's like a resort back there. This is not your typical type of application where you have someone coming in to ask to build a shed or a building so he could put the junk he has in there. He already has his yard. The application is for a 60 by 40 pole barn that Mr. Duffy wants to put his antique and other cars in. He has them stored at various locations. He has one or two there. He has places he wants to keep them all. There will be no automotive work at the site. It is purely storage. Is everything that I said, Mr. Duffy, accurate? There are, and I'll go over the application where it's going to be put. Just one minor clarification. There are 3 variances that were needed. One was for the height of the accessory structure because the building was going to be 19.4, and we believe that the house was slightly less. The house was remeasured to the peak, and the house is 21.5 feet. So that variance will not be requested. Mark Healy was kind enough to do a color-coded map for Mr. Duffy. Clearly defined, and I'm sure you all have that in front of you. It indicates all the areas that are in dark blue on the map are existing pavement. There's a light blue, I mean. The dark blue area is the small triangular area that will be paved, which is located, which you see next to the orange, which is the 60 by 40 barn. The sheds that are in green that are said to remove have already been removed. The one in the upper right-hand corner is mostly on the other property, was Mr. Duffy's, and it's already been removed. The upper left-hand corner on the property, where there's a pavement that connects to the street, that will be removed once the pole barn is constructed. That's being kept because that's where the construction vehicles are going to come in and build the pole barn. The 2 variances that are being requested are for lot coverage. He's going to be slightly over 16.62% proposed, where 15% is allowed, and the impervious, where he's a little bit under 40%, 39.73, and 25% proposed. There were several comments from the TRC report, and I'll ask Mr. Duffy to confirm, but Mr. Duffy will comply with the comments. Correct, Mr. Duffy? The first comment is, he clearly understands he must comply with chapter 333, which is when you're over 1,000 square feet, you have to take care of some stormwater. He will hire the appropriate engineer and work with our engineering department to put in the proper drainage. Let's see, what else do we have? In comment number 2, Mr. Duffy's already confirmed my statement that only for the storage of cars, only for any other accessory use like storage of other furniture on the property. There will be no business, there will be no car repair on the property. The third comment, which you also addressed, is that shed has already been removed. That was on the neighbor's property. It was a shed. Everything that I said, accurate and correct, Mr. Duffy. Thank you. Mr. Duffy's available to answer any questions or any conversations that anyone has.
Anything from the board?
So, Mr. Chairman, just one clarification. Chapter, comment 1, actually, if all of the material, all the sheds and driveway that are indicated on the plan to be removed, if they are in fact removed, then the increase in impervious would be below 1,000 square feet. So they actually would not need to do a dry well. So we'll just need confirmation at the end of the day that the sheds and the portion of the driveway that are supposed to go indeed go. And then again, you don't have to hire an engineer, don't have to do a dry well because the increase will be below 1,000 square feet.
Okay, I have a question on that. Now, this is the first time I've seen where there's a pool, a pond, and what, three water features. Now, Mark, I guess this is for you. Do all those are all of those not included in the calculation for pervious?
Mark,
I hear you, Mark.
I'm trying to be good at mute myself when I'm not speaking. The sound went off for a second there, so I only heard the second part. And I apologize if I spoke over somebody before, but my sound was off. I only heard the second part of your question, Alan.
Okay, there's 3 different things there. There's a pool, which I know is not calculated into the impervious calculation. What about the water features in the pond? Are they the same way?
Yeah, no, the water feature in the pond would not, we would count that, consider that like a pool and not count those areas.
Okay. All right. Good. Thank you.
If I could just have a clarification. So did I hear right that all of the sheds that are marked color coded, they have already been removed and there's no sheds to be removed?
Yes, the ones that are marked to be removed have all been removed.
Okay.
The only area that has not been removed that's in the green is the impervious, the upper left-hand corner. That will be removed once the pole barn is corrected, because that's the access for the construction vehicles and for them to bring in the pole barn. But once it's up and erected, that will be removed.
Okay, so then does that mean the only thing remaining for the variance is to add the structure?
I'm sorry, Mark, I can't hear.
So just to clarify, if that removes the variance for the impervious, the only thing remaining for the construction of the pole barn?
It's a good question. It's two different things. No, with the proposal, with the new pole barn and there's a little bit of proposed driveway, and then subtracting out the stuff that they're going to remove, the impervious is that 39.73% figure. What I was talking about is there's a separate ordinance that when the increase is 1,000 square feet or more, then you have to do some type of stormwater treatment. Usually it's a dry well. But the net change is still a variance, but the net changes would be less than 1,000 square feet.
Okay, so it just removes the storm water management.
Yes, the variance is still required, but exactly, you got it right.
Got it. Okay.
Okay, any other questions?
There'll be nothing else in the shed but the cars, Vince? Did you hear me?
That was muted. The testimony, yes, the testimony was that it's the garage is only going to be used for the storage of cars for their private use.
That's the only thing about the sheds.
Vince, why don't you just answer with a yes? 'Cause I think he's having a little trouble hearing.
Yes, they're nothing besides the residential uses in there. Specifically, the majority will be for the storage of cars. You know, he may put other, that you normally put in a shed, but it'll be nothing besides the residential uses, primarily for the storage of his cars.
No flammable stuff.
That is correct.
Okay, thanks, Vince.
And
Anybody else?
I have a question regarding access to that pole barn. Is that where the new driveway area comes in? Because this is at the back of the property. Access, to be able to access the pole barn?
Yeah, they have they have a number of curb cuts. They have one on Hamilton. They have one on Clyde. They actually have two currently on Clyde. They're going to keep one, and the one that's in the back left corner, that's the one that's going to be removed. So they're still going to have a driveway basically going down the left side of the property to access the pole barn.
Okay, and that's the green box that says driveway to be removed?
Yes, that's the portion of the driveway that's going away.
Any other questions?
Just want to clarify, in your TRC, you had 24 square feet. I mean, you had 1,200. I'm assuming you really meant 2,400.
That is bad math. That is bad math on my part. Yes, it is 60 by 40. Those are the correct dimensions.
Okay, if there are no other questions, we can open to the public.
Okay, so we'll give the public a few minutes, or a few moments, I should say. I'll repeat again the way to participate if it's WebEx. You can raise your hand by clicking on the participant button in the bottom right-hand corner. There's a hand button. You can click on that and that'll indicate your desire to comment or ask questions. Or if you're calling in, you can press *3 and that'll also raise your hand. Well, Mr. Chairman, we announced it at the beginning of the meeting, announced it again. I'm not seeing anybody expressing a desire to comment or ask questions on this application.
Okay, then we'll close. Any other comments, questions, or concerns? Otherwise, we'll entertain a motion.
I'll move this.
I'd like to make a motion that we approve ZBA 19-00034 on with no condition and on the variances that apply. There is no height variance, so whatever other ones apply, that's what it is.
I second.
I'll second.
Second.
Okay,
Cheryl Bethia,
Yes.
Joel Reese,
Yes.
Alan Rich,
Yes.
Barry Rosenthal,
Yes.
Rich Prokranik,
Yes.
Kunal Lakir,
Yes.
and Chairman Thomas.
yes.
Thank you very much. Please inform Mr. Lanford that this is how quick an application should go, not the long-winded applications that he gives.
It's good to see you.
Okay, Cedar Hill Prep, ZBA 19-00041. Applicant seeking a D variance to allow operation of a summer day camp and site plan to install a soccer field running track at 152 Cedar Grove Lane, Somerset, block 424.12, lot 6.03 in the R40 zone. and we'll get started as soon as we can get everybody brought in and together.
I'm sorry. Let me bring in Mr. Lanford here. Okay, so Mr. Lanford's coming in.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. Peter Lanford appearing on behalf of the applicant. If I may, Mr. Thomas, I have two matters on this evening. This one and also the continuation of 150 Pierce Street. That matter was heard in December. We presented all the testimony and it was adjourned only to deal with one issue, which is bus circulation. I think that one we can finish up in hopefully 20 minutes, and rather than keep that to the end, perhaps we can switch the matters around and try to finish up 150 Pierce, because I have a feeling the Cedar Hill will take a little bit longer.
Okay, Daniel, does that represent any problem for the public in your mind?
No, Mr. Chairman, the board can modify the agenda and reverse the order if it so chooses.
Okay, I think actually it's a good idea. We'll move that down to the next application, and right now we will move to 150 Pierce Street, ZBA 20-00017, use variance and site plan for 16,744 square foot addition to the charter school, parking expansion for farm script associated site plan, modifications at 150 Pierce Street, Somerset, block 468.08, lot 2.02 in the M2 zone. This is carried from January 21st, and I guess you're on. You can bring us up to date with a quick summary.
I will do that. First, Mr. Healy or Christine, can we confirm that we have 7 members that heard this matter? And actually, the matter was not heard on January 21st. The last hearing date on this matter, the only hearing date was in December. I believe it was December 17th.
That's correct, Mr. Lanford, December 17th.
To the best of my knowledge, other than the brand new member Vasim, everyone else was here.
Okay, so we have 7 members.
Yeah.
Thank you. All right. By way of a review, in December, I appeared on behalf of 150 Pierce Street. This is a building which is located on Pierce Street. It is currently being used for 2 separate and distinct uses. One use is farm script, which is a permitted use in what was the M zone and now is the IB zone. And that use has always been on the property. The applicant received an approval some years back for a charter school. On the other half of the property, the charter school is not a permitted use in the zone, and we received a use variance. We came back in December to present testimony to expand the building, as Mr. Thomas indicated in his opening, and also to reconfigure the parking. At the hearing in December, we presented the testimony of Mr. Feldman, who was the architect who described the expansion of the building, which would be bringing out the 2nd floor of the building out towards Pierce Street with parking underneath. Mr. Stiers, our site engineer, testified as far as the site changes that were being proposed. We also presented the testimony of Mr. Troutman, our traffic consultant. We also presented the testimony of Mr. Gargis, who was the school police resource officer who controls bus circulation. And lastly, we presented the planning testimony. After we presented all of the testimony, there was an issue about the ability to stack all the buses on the site in an orderly fashion. The original approval and the original design allowed for the stacking of 8 buses, and based on the testimony of the school representative. Once the addition was built, once the school was at full build out, we would have 12 buses. The board had a concern that those buses would be able to safely stack on the property because there was a history of some of the buses parking on Pierce Street while they were waiting to pick up students on the property. There was also a new parking lot that was proposed for FarmScript. As a result of that parking lot, there was circulation around the building, and the board expressed a concern that we want to keep the two uses separate, which was the intent back in the original hearing. And Mr. Stiers testified that the reason he did connect the two parking lots was for fire safety, but the board felt that the separation was more important. So we adjourned the hearing at that time and went back and looked at the site plan to see if we can come up with some alternative circulation patterns to address those two comments. Since December, we've had numerous versions that we did submit to the TRC of ways to deal with the bus stacking and the separation of the two uses. The last version was reviewed by the TRC earlier this week. It is on the website. I think at this juncture, I would like to call Mr. Stiers, and then we can turn the screen over to him so he can review what our original proposal was and review the changes to deal with the bus circulation and also vehicle circulation and separation.
Okay, he's been sworn and qualified, right?
Yes, Mr. Stiers, can you hear me?
Yes,
Okay, you remain under oath from the previous hearing.
thank you.
Mr. Stiers, can you bring up the exhibit that we used at the previous hearing to show the site plan and the new traffic and parking that we were proposing?
Sure. Can everybody see that?
Okay.
Yeah, can you blow that up a little bit?
Yep, just making sure everybody can see it first.
Yeah.
You can see it.
Okay. Okay, the original plan that was submitted, which was consistent with the original approval, was that we had the stacking of 6 buses along the side of the driveway in this location, an additional 2 for a total of 8. We had the proposed addition on the second floor for the school with the parking underneath. And then this portion of the school, of the parking lot, was for FarmScript, which is the tenancy on the north side in this location. And then previously, the existing parking in this location here was to remain. We were going to add an additional handicap parking spot, and that was the original proposal. Since that time, as Peter said, we've had a couple back and forths with the TRC. And additionally, we received, although not shown on this plan, but it is shown on the grading plan and the existing conditions plan, there's a wetland area in this location. Since the last meeting that we were at for the Board of Adjustment, we received the permit for this location to fill all of these wetlands. Originally, in the previous application, we weren't sure if we would be able to fill the wetlands, so we were kind of showing an averaging plan. But since we've received the permit to fill the wetlands, that allows us to expand this parking in the location here. So what our proposal now is, since the last meeting, is to shift the FarmScript parking in this location over to the north side so that all of their parking is on the north side, create a separation between the school parking and the FarmScript parking. And then secondly, what it was suggested by the TRC was to create an additional curb face for the bus drop off in this location. So we're going to eliminate the existing parking for the school in this location, create that curb face, so now we have an additional space for additional 4 buses to drop off. So that would account for all 12 buses that the school has. The loss of this parking will now shift over and be put into what used to be the farm script executive parking. So we kind of shifted things around while at the same time virtually maintaining what we originally proposed as far as parking, but most importantly, got a distinct separation between farm script and the school, and also a clear path for all 12 buses on site. And then lastly, I think Mark brought up the concern. The previous approval was for have the gate across the loop road. I guess somewhere along the line, it was mistakenly put in this location right here. Since our last meeting, that gate has been relocated to where it belongs. So that has also been taken care of since the last meeting. So I think those are the open items, as Peter said, from the last meeting. So I believe, it looks like we've accomplished what the board and the TRC was looking for. So if there's any questions.
A couple real brief questions, just so we're focused. By extending the curb face for the buses, how many parking spaces did we lose at the back of the property along the building?
The school lost 21 parking spots because of the bus extension.
Okay. And then where do we make up those 21 parking spots?
Then they pick up 40 in this location. So they're actually at a net increase since the last since the last meeting of 21 additional spots.
Okay. Now, farm script also, as we testified, or as you testified at the last meeting, had some additional parking that was proposed. As a result of all of these changes, will there be a net increase for parking for farm script?
There'll be an increase in parking, yes, by extending the parking lot. This version of the plan versus the plan that was before the board originally, farm script actually loses about 13 spots.
From the last plan, but from the existing conditions, are they increasing the parking?
Yes. So this location right here down through here is all additional parking from the existing condition. Yes.
The other concern that the board had and that we talked about at the last hearing, you originally provided for circulation in case an emergency vehicle needed to get around the front of the building. There was the ability to go from what we would call the farm script parking area to the school parking area. What have you done to eliminate that? And is there a way that an emergency vehicle can get through there at all?
What we were going to do is actually put a depressed curb or a mountable curb on either side of the parking lot. So while cars would not be able to typically go through from one side to the other, if an emergency vehicle such as a fire truck needed to get through here, they could easily up and over that mountable curb.
Okay. And that addresses the issue of fire safety circulation and keeps the employees from commingling, correct?
That's correct.
And that change was also proposed to the TRC and accepted by the TRC, correct?
Yes.
Thank you. I don't have any further questions, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, anything from the board?
Mark, does this affect the stormwater management anyway?
Well, I can't really answer that definitively, although what I will say is that, this will obviously have to be reflected on the plans that, if the board's inclined to approve it, they'll have to reflect this on the revised plans, and our engineer will review it. I don't believe this results in any increase in impervious surface, but if there's any details of the stormwater plan that need to be tweaked, that'll get reviewed by our engineer.
Anybody else?
I do have one quick question. With regard to the ADA parking, are you adding or restriping any of the existing for ADA?
We will comply with the requirements of the ADA, so we will have the proper number on both farm script side and the school side.
And then you'll have the ramps as needed to get into the building?
Yes, that's correct.
Thank you.
Okay, any other questions? I believe we opened to the public before, but is it?
Yeah, I think we
now?
should. Yeah, I think we have to because there is new testimony.
Yes, that's correct, Mr. Chairman.
Okay,
So,
we'll open to the public.
So
Additional
again,
questions for Mr. Stiers?
Go
and
ahead.
again, I'll remind the public to do the raised hand function if they're participating via WebEx, or do *3 if they're calling in. While we wait a few seconds to allow the public, I will just indicate that as Mr. Steyer said, and I believe Mr. Lanford, there was a few iterations of this plan that were sent to TRC. Myself, CME, the consulting engineer, fire prevention, and police all had opportunities to review the evolution of this plan, and the version that's being presented to you tonight was satisfactory to those members of the TRC that reviewed it. The one comment that fire prevention raised was just an existing situation that this application partially addresses, which is an ongoing parking issue on the farm script side. Again, the applicant's adding that this is a net increase in spaces for farm script, but farm script's going to have to park in designated spaces. Other than that, TRC was satisfied with this plan. With that said, Mr. Chairman, I don't see any members of the public with their hand up to ask questions or to make comments on this testimony.
Okay, then we'll close. And then Daniel, you had a question or comment?
I did, just to Mark, and then this might be for Mr. Stiers or Mark together. I had a note about the school area signs. Were there any discussion about signage that might help the parking situation?
This is Craig. Right now, the way we have it designated is if you're looking at the plan, the left-hand side or the entrance at the intersection with World's Fair is the entrance for the school.
Right.
And the north side is for farm scripts. So I think this further delineates those two uses because in the past, as you recall, this was farm script, so there was a little bit of a commingling. Right now, the way we have it proposed is there's a distinct separation between the two.
Mr. Lieutenant,
yes.
if I may also, I don't think that was discussed with TRC, but if Mr. Healy wants to bring that issue up to TRC, if they feel any additional signage would be necessary or appropriate, we would be happy to install it.
That'd be great, because I did have some notations about school area signs on World's Fair Drive and Pierce Street, considering now you basically have a separate entrance over there on that side, and some additional signage may be appropriate. That's all I have, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else? Anything you want to add to it, Mr. Lanford?
Just very briefly, we did spend a great deal of time going over this application. It's been a while, and I just want to remind the board that as far as the site plan is concerned, it is a fully compliant application. There are no variances that we are seeking. We are well under impervious coverage. The ordinance allows us to be at 65%. We're at 49%. The floor area ratio is 0.5 and we're at 0.2. This is a almost 17 acre site in a 2 acre zone. So the site is fully compliant. The only variance is the use variance for the expansion of the school. And as the board recalls, we did have the testimony of the professional planner at the last meeting who testified that the school is an inherently beneficial use. And this board found when the school was originally constructed a few years ago that this site was particularly suited and that the school was an inherently beneficial use. So I would respectfully request that the site plan be granted and the use variance be granted for the school expansion.
Okay, I think the changes that you incorporated since the last meeting were well worth the 2 or 3 extra weeks that it took to hear this. If there's no other comments or questions, entertain a motion.
I just have a quick question for Mark. When I looked at the TRC comments about the bus stacking, they didn't seem to match the presentation of the figure on the screen. Did something change from what the comments that I'm looking at?
Well, I'm not sure what comments, was this in the original?
No, it was the additional. It said TRC comments, suggestions that was dated for, that was added to the packet for this
Okay,
meeting.
yeah, I think that was a prior iteration of the plan.
Okay,
They had a completely different scenario than is presented here. And the idea that this scenario, the seed of it was basically suggested by TRC. The applicant looked into it and agreed and incorporated it into the plan that they presented. So, yeah, so that comment indicating that TRC wasn't satisfied, again, that was a prior draft a few weeks ago.
okay, I just wanted to clarify that because from what I saw presented, it didn't seem to raise those issues. So I just wanted to sync the two. Okay.
Yep, that clarifies
Thank
the
you.
record. Thank you.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else? And if not, a motion.
I'd like to make a motion that we approve ZBA 20-00017. Make a motion to approve it.
Gary,
And if there are any questionable items during this, the township, be under the direction of the township staff. They can probably handle anything there. So that's my motion.
I'll second it.
Okay.
Mr. Stiers, can you please drop your shared screen so I can see the board members? Thank you. Okay, Cheryl Bethia,
Yes.
Joel Reese,
Yes.
Alan Rich,
Yes.
Gary Rosenthal,
Yes.
Rich Prokanic,
Yes.
Kunal Lakir,
Yes.
and Chairman Thomas.
Yes.
Thank you very much. Also, I would like to thank the TRC and Mr. Healy. We've been since December going back and forth, and because of their efforts and also Mr. Steyer's involvement, I think we did come up with a plan that makes the most sense. And I think the board was right in carrying this matter in December to get where we were tonight. Thank you very much.
Okay, now we can move back to the remaining item on the agenda. Cedar Hill Prep, ZBA 19-00041, a D variance to allow operation of summer day camp and site plan to install soccer field and running track at 152 Cedar Grove Lane, Somerset, block 424.12, 6.03 in the R40 zone. Even before you begin, in the interest of full disclosure, I do live within 200 feet of this application. I have sat on all the previous applications for this applicant. I don't view it as any particular conflict of interest, but I'm offering that to you as the attorney before we start.
Mr. Thomas, you and I have been dealing with this site going back to about 2008, and your shepherding this on behalf of the board has always been fair and unbiased, and I don't see any reason why it's not going to be this evening. You are a tough questioner, but always a fair questioner, and have always treated this applicant, as you have all applicants, very fairly. So I have no objection for you to chair this meeting and proceed.
Okay, thank you. Then we will do that and proceed.
Okay, let me spend a couple minutes, again, perhaps to move this thing along. This originally started with an application in October of 2019 for a use variance for approval for a summer camp. I will have the operator of the school testify as to the history of the site, and there has been a summer camp ongoing at the property. We did receive a use variance for the school back in 2008. After we submitted the application, there were some staff reports that requested that we look at some traffic counts and look at some numbers. And since the application was submitted in October, there was no summer camp in October. So we were going to do some traffic counts this past summer, and we held off on the application. During that time, my client also decided that they wanted to add a running track and a small soccer field. So we submitted a second application for the soccer field and the running track. That application is a site plan application. When we received the staff reports on that application, there are some issues that need to be resolved. Some questions were raised both by the township engineer and also by the DRCC. Mike Ford, who has been the site engineer on this project from the beginning, is addressing those issues. So I'm going to ask that we now proceed this evening on the site plan for the soccer field and the running track, and that we carry that to a later date, which we can figure out at the end of this meeting. So what I would like to do this evening is just move forward on the approval of the summer camp.
Okay, that sounds fine.
Okay, in that regard, I have 3 witnesses so that the board is aware who I intend to call. I intend to call Nan Menon, who is the head of the Cedar Hill Prep School, Galen Smith, who operates the summer camp, and also Betsy Dolan, the traffic consultant, who also has been on this project from the beginning. Can we have Nan sworn in?
You please raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Mr. Lamford?
Nan, are you there? I can't hear her.
She needs to, she's brought in, she needs to put her camera on and unmute herself.
Can you see her, Mr. Haley, or is she there somewhere? Evidently, she has her hand raised in the chat room, I've been told. So obviously that's not going to work. We need to get her on the screen, but you may want to communicate with her through the chat room, Mr. Haley.
I'm sorry, I think I was muted. She chatted indicating that she can't, she's here, but she can't get her camera going or can't figure out why she can't communicate.
I'm good. Bye. Sorry. Bye. I'm on, sorry.
Okay, ma'am, can you please raise your right hand?
Can
Do
you
you
see?
swear or affirm, yes, I can see you. Do you swear or affirm the testimony about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do.
Please state your name, spell your last, and provide us with your professional address, please.
Yes, it's Nandini Menon. The last name will be spelled M as in mother, E, N as in Nancy, O, N as in Nancy. The address is 152 Cedar Grove Lane, Somerset, New Jersey.
Man, what is your relationship? You can put your hand down. What is your relationship to the school?
I'm the Chief Educational Officer.
Okay, and when did Cedar Hill Prep first open its doors?
In the location,
Yes, at that location.
February 2008.
Okay, and since you opened the school, we originally came to the board and received a use variance and site plan approval and made numerous appearances before the board after 2008. We were here in 2011, 2012, and I believe also 2014, correct?
Correct.
Okay, and at the present time, the school itself, what grades does the school cover?
Preschool to grade 8.
Okay, and the last approval that we received as far as enrollment limits your enrollment to 330 students, is that correct?
That is correct.
And you are, and let's not talk about the pandemic, but you are at that number or below the number and have been since you received your approval for the school, correct?
Correct.
Okay. After you opened the school, did there come a time where you ran a summer program?
Yes, from the.
And when did you start to run a summer program?
It would be the summer of 2008.
Okay, and was that summer program solely for your students, or was it for your students and others?
Students and siblings.
Okay, and what did that summer program consist of?
Consisted of being in the property, a mixture of academics and outdoor activities within the school.
Okay, and when you first started the summer program, how many students or participants did you have in the program?
Well, 2008, we had just started, so 50 students maybe.
Okay, did the summer program grow?
Yes, it did.
Okay, and take us to about 2015 or 16, how many students did you have in the summer program at that time?
We had about 100.
Okay, and at that time you were still running the program?
That is correct.
Okay.
Mr. Lanford, Mr. Lanford, let me cut in here. We're getting a lot of feedback and static. Do either you or Nan have your phones on or something?
Yeah.
I do not.
Is it better now?
Sometimes if you have your phone and the WebEx at the same time, you get feedback.
Oh, okay. I can shut off my phone. I was on WebEx. Okay, I'll shut it off and then you tell me. Is it better now?
That's much better.
Okay.
I'll continue, Mr. Chairman.
Just started again. I don't know what it is.
Can you get further back from the your computer? Maybe it'll be better.
Me?
Can you hear me there?
I can.
Okay. Going back to 2015, did you?
Peter, you may need to log off and come back in. Our recording secretary is not going to be able to make sense out of this. We can't hear anything you're saying.
You want me to log off and come back?
Mark, you have the post? Do you see where the lines are coming up? Is it Peter or is it her?
No, I can't tell.
Do you want me to talk? Okay.
Well, Ms. Nan, you had trouble getting in. Peter, if you can go out and come back in, the recording secretary, as I said, is not going to be able to do minutes.
I had no trouble with the last one. Perhaps Nan should log off and try to come back in. Because I was fine for the last hearing.
Okay. Okay, I'm going to get back in. Okay.
Log off on both your laptop on your phone and then just come in on your laptop.
Yeah, Mark, I don't have you on my phone. Okay, so I'm going to log out, okay? Leave.
Yeah, it was definitely her because all the feedback is gone.
Yeah.
It wasn't me. Told me it was me.
No, you're pretty bad too. She's just worse.
Yeah, get out of it, Gary. You were doing it before.
Although I think the winner for good sound tonight is Rich Procanic. It's you sound like you're on a. It's like perfect. It sounds like you're sitting next to me when you speak.
It's not my first time at the rodeo. It's this headset. It works wonders.
How about me?
Very good.
Well,
Yeah,
you're
they sound
okay.
good.
You're okay. Peter, before Nan gets back in, may I please suggest that you start all over again because Kathy is not going to be able to make heads or tails of this conversation. There was way too much feedback.
I'd be happy to do that.
I believe Nan is back in. I made her presenter.
Yeah. Hi, guys. I'm back. My husband set up the basement. He says if this is still a problem, I have to go to the basement. Okay.
It's definitely better.
Okay.
All right. And since they had trouble hearing you, I'm going to start from the beginning.
From the swearing in?
No, I think you were sworn in.
Because it's already, I can't hear you.
Yeah, well,
You need to go to the basement.
Oh, really? Okay. Okay, I'm gonna go to the basement. So let me get out of this again. Peter, imagine if it's you.
It's not me. While we're waiting for her, Christine and Mark, if we can, do we know if the second meeting in March is available for the site plan for this matter, and if we can carry it to that date?
You said the second meeting?
Yes.
We have one small application and then, we have the two, one of the two larger use variance applications that are yours scheduled for that date.
What we could, we'll talk, perhaps we can move it there as a placeholder and then figure out as we get closer to that date, and depending where those other two applications are going, we can always slide it further down after that.
Okay.
I was hoping to have 100% resolution on the one. I don't know if I have 100%. I have about 90% resolution on one of them. Mark, do you have, can you see her husband, Raghu Menon?
Yeah, he's a what do you call it? A panelist as well.
I think she may be on his computer, so perhaps you can let him in and it may be her.
He's already in. They just need to activate their camera and sound.
Yeah, we need volume. Okay.
We see and hear you now.
Nan?
Can you hear me now?
Nan, can you hear us?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, and right now there's no static, so hopefully we're good.
Okay.
All right. Nan, since this meeting is being transcribed, we're going to go back to the beginning because can you hear me now? I'm picking this up.
Mr. Lanford, it's incredible feedback.
I know there is. It's got to be from your end, Nan.
Maybe just use a cell phone, download WebEx app and join from there.
Okay, I'll do that. I can
Okay.
actually, because I have you on my cell phone. Okay, I'll do that.
Mr. Lanford, while we're
Yes.
waiting, can you call me on my cell phone? I have a question to ask you among council.
Okay.
It's 201
Okay.
407 4188.
Okay, I'm going to mute myself and call you.
think one minor advantage of this whole COVID thing is I think we've all had to learn to be a little bit more patient. Because it just seems like everything in life, this stuff happens. I don't know. That's my little minor observation about COVID. Everything else is horrible, but that's one little minor advantage of COVID.
I just have a suggestion that I don't know if once Ms. Menon comes back, I wonder if it would help if Mr. Lanford mutes himself while she's speaking and vice versa. That might help. I don't know.
Well, when she stood up to walk away, she had an iPad or something, and then her husband is sitting in front of a computer. So if they have two things on at the same time, we're always going to hear back. And that happened to Mark and I. I mean, we're not above technical difficulties. Believe me, the township has their share. But that is what occurred with Mark and I, and that's what we learned sitting so close together, that what you just said, if he's talking, I have to be on mute. And then sometimes I've even had to stand up and go over to where he is and take roll call or something. It's just technical issues. But I did see when she stand up, she had the iPad and she started walking away. So if she had that on and he's sitting there on the computer, it's just going to keep. And as I stated to her attorney, our secretary needs to be able to hear what's being said. So if she can't hear, then there's no sense in continuing the meeting.
That's true.
We were doing so well.
Yeah, I'm looking for her on the call in. Kanal's suggestion was a good one. If you can call in. Oh, I do see her here. Let me see if I can unmute her. Nan, are you there?
Finally,
Okay, so we can hear you.
but I can't see you.
Well, so the suggestion was, so are you using a phone to call in?
Now I'm using my phone.
Okay, so if you go in front of you had a laptop before. If you go in front of that laptop, keep the camera on, but the sound off on the laptop.
Oh.
Sound through your phone and the video through your iPad. I mean your laptop.
Sorry about this.
Mark, I'm going to text Dan and let him know that Nan is back on, okay?
Thank you. Mark?
Yes?
Okay, so
You have to make sure only one device has sound. So we're getting echoing.
okay, how's this? How's this?
Hello? Can you hear me?
I can hear you, but are you in front of your laptop for the video?
Yes, I am. But I'm not getting the video icon yet. Usually it'll pop up saying, you'll press the.
Mr. Lanford,
Yeah.
how do you want to proceed?
Mr. Chairman, Council and I had a discussion while we were trying to get Nan back on. Since we're having difficulty, perhaps it's in everybody's best interest that we just carry this matter. We'll start again. Christine has the ability to do a trial run. We'll try to do a trial run with Nan before the next hearing date to make sure that her equipment is working properly. And at that time, I guess we can either decide to proceed just on this use variance, or perhaps we'll be in a position to proceed on both aspects of the application at that time.
That's up to you. That's fine with me.
Yeah, it's not
productive at the moment, so.
Yeah, it's not fair to the board members. If there's members of the public, it's not fair that you can't hear the testimony, and it's disconcerting. So perhaps we, again, can carry everything till March 18th, depending on where the other two applications that I have in between go. We may be able to go on that date, or we may have to adjourn it further.
Mr. Lanford, you agreed to an extension of the tolling of the time till that date?
I will grant the board an extension of time through March 31st, 2021.
No, they reduced.
Okay, thank you, sir.
So it works on the schedule, Mark?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, we'll carry this until March 18th.
I think we need a formal announcement from either Mark or Christine, do we not?
Christine's going to bring up the date with the WebEx information and the call-in number, and then she'll read that in. Or Christine, do you want me to read it in, or can you? You can see it on your screen, right?
I'm trying to get it up, get the thing right now, more.
Hey, Mark, can you just pull your mic down in front of your mouth? It's over your head.
Fashion choice.
Much better.
Sorry about that.
Can everybody see what I'm doing so far, or no?
No, it's blank. It's black. Just showing a black screen.
All right. I'm going through the different screens to get to the upcoming meeting, so give me a minute. Can you see it now or no?
Nothing yet.
Nothing yet.
All right. I can see my cursor moving around, but I can't see the screen. I'm going to go back out and come back in again.
There it is.
Okay.
Thank you. All right. So this is, if you see at the top, this is March 18th meeting at 7:30 p.m. Anybody calling in, if you would please jot this information down, you can reach this link information at https://www.franklintwpnj.org/the word home/the word components / the word calendar / the word event, number 17602 / 2193. If you're choosing to call in on the meeting of March 18th, you can reach us at 1-408-418-9388. And the access code for that meeting will be 173-674-2732. Anybody who is not able to connect with the information I have provided, please call Franklin Township during business hours of 7:30 to 2:30, Monday through Friday. And you can reach me at 732-873-2500, and my extension is 6215.
Okay, we should be all set then, right?
That's correct.
Any
Mark,
further,
is there anything you wanted to add, Mark, or no?
Nope.
Okay.
any further business for tonight? Okay, then we'll adjourn the meeting. Everybody have a good weekend and stay safe.